Welcome. My name is Dr. George Mochocki. This is Organizational Behavior Online, offered by Harper College. We'll be starting week 6. Before I go on, make sure you go into, make sure you start working on your research paper. Okay, so let's go into weekly module. So we're going to start week 6. This opens up. This is from July 15th to July 20th. Okay, you've got the quick YouTube. Make sure you always look at the overview. You have two short YouTubes on individual chapters instead of long ones. So hopefully this one's going to be a shorter overview clip. So make sure you click on there. You can always stop and pause them as you want. It goes through the concept maps, gives you a quick overview. After you look at the YouTube, these clips and my concept maps that you print them out, write, read, look at this. Read the chapters, add more information to your own mind maps after you print them out, utilize mine to get you a quick overview, what I think is important, and then basically do the connect homework, and then you should be doing you should be doing fine. Okay, let's go back to week 6. So what do we have this week? In an overview, you're going to have to connect. You got two connects, 20 points each. That's 40 points. Your week 6 form is going to be worth 25 points. If you notice, I upped the forms to help people up and to bring people in. Forms is a good way of learning. Last week, forms were excellent. We had some really good conversations. One thing I want you to understand with the form, I set up this week, you've got 3 assessments again, right? You have 1, 2, 3. Last week, you had 2 plus 2 minor assessments. I noticed that some people, when you do the forms and the assessments, when you respond to mine, you have nothing else to say. You put it in there, fine, you did well, but you don't know how to look at somebody else's work and add to it or trying to get the conversation going. Part of the forum in business, so when I'm trying to do it the forum, or if you have me in a face-to-face class, is that you learn how to communicate. How do you come across that you are a problem solver? You are one that could help someone redefine their own issues or problems or whatever whatever we're discussing, because that's how you're going to be viewed. Not only how you write, not only what you how you present, but also how you help others. Because when I see how others help, and that's how you build friendships, you build networks this class, or you build networks within the organization. So the forum is a powerful tool. Because if you notice, when I see the forums kind of like stagnant, people answer everybody, and now no one knows what to say. You know what I mean? Hey, I come in there, I can always get the conversation going. I mean, now some of you aren't there yet on how to get it going, so I'll always help you with the conversation. Remember, I'm going less and less. I'm trying to get you to start communicating. I'm reading all the forums. I'm looking from behind there. I put in my comments in and out, but I may not put them in all the time. I want more and more as we're coming to the end that you actually communicate as a team, and your supervisor or manager is just looking how you're communicating. That's where that's where we're at now, and I think most of you are almost there. You've done pretty good. So what do we have this week? You have 3 assessments: what it takes to be a leader, mechanistic versus or organic. There's just a quick test. It has so many, right? I think it's 11 questions, and then your own preferred style. So look at this, put the information in, and start talking about organic. Start talking about mechanistic. See if what your leadership style. See if it fits in for your business where you're working at, or if you would be open up a manager, which style would you use, or how would you? Even though the organization may be mechanistic, you could still have your department could be in an organic. When I was in the corporate world, they didn't really care if I was mechanistic or organic, but as long as I achieve the goals and the requirements for the team. So if I didn't, then they bring another individual. I'm a more of a participative type of manager or a leader. But if that didn't work with the team, they would pull me out, because remember, there's a team that makes everything happen, and they'll bring in more of an autocratic type of a leader, or vice versa. Okay, so let's see what we have in the forum. The forums are, so you have to do these 3 assessments. I've done the assessments a little different. Instead of giving you the linkage, I went exactly into just so you know, I've got this. So if you go through Blackboard and utilizing Firefox, sometimes it may not work if you're using the smartphone or the tablet. Because remember, you're using an apps, and apps is not the full program. It's an apps. It's a mini version, so you may not have all the functionality. It may not work as well. Just understand that it's good for sometimes for posting, but if you're doing some of the other stuff, the apps may not handle it. So you have to go through Blackboard through the regular computer. If you don't have that, you can always go to the to Harper Lab. Harper has several mega labs. Harper also has smaller labs. You go to the library. All of them have things you could go in there and log in, or at your friend's house or anything else. It worked. I wouldn't really recommend it work. A lot of work have a lot of filters where they want people having access to other kind of programs. All right, so you may not be able to do it at work, but it's up to you. All right. So, or you could do it at home. All right. So, but what happened instead of going to the different, what do you call it, a link, you just click on this, and I already have the zip file embedded into Blackboard. And you'll come in here and you'll do whatever has to be done. You'll have your questions. You begin. You print it out. You know, and the only reason I print it out because it's easier when I utilize in a form to talk about it. Okay. So we have that. So we go into the form, and here's what again with the form. You know, you've got the 6 must complete all 3 assessments. The first one, what was your learning style? I mean, leadership style. Look at your style. This is your style. I mean, and remember, all of us have a preferred style, but we could learn different styles depending on the situation. That's what this whole leadership chapter 14 is. Different styles. Remember, and many of you have already had leadership if you had me for supervision or for management or introduction to business or the other instructor. Or if this is your, I think you almost need an introduction to business as a prerequisite for this course. But if you didn't, you have, just to understand, different styles, different situations. Is just look at it as your bag of I don't want to say tricks, as your bag of tools. Depending on the individual, what do I use? Because there's one style that worked for everyone. That'd be good, but that's not it. We're all individuals. Remember, and the assessment. Don't get so hung up on the assessment. Assessment gives you a general overview. Let me know if you would you utilize this assessment from a corporation, from an organizational behavior standpoint. A lot of organizations use a lot of assessments. Got too many people. This is one way that they say we're not putting any subjectivity into it. It's a very objective to make sure you have the right skill set. So when you're looking at assessment, but assessment's an assessment. You have to look at it that we're all individual. None of us are alike. We may have certain attributes that are similar, but I think differently. I'm English second language. I'm Polish. I'm German. I've got whatever. You know what I mean? You're looking at it. There's no one thing. So there is no assessment that's going to be 100% for you. That's why when you say if you don't agree with the assessment, I don't agree with the assessment. Why don't you agree with the assessment? But even if you don't agree with the assessment, how did I respond? Remember, because I teach consumer behavior. Some of you may take me for that in a marketing class. But if I'm looking at consumers, a lot of times we think we have a different vision of what we think people see us like. But when you look at assessment, how we respond, we may come across the assessment is just a flag, something for me, a self-assessment to say, hey, maybe there's something to it. Remember, there's more assessments you could take, a more in-depth assessment. This is just a quick snapshot. How did I respond? Whatever. I don't want you pondering during all day, 20 minutes on the assessment. The assessment's supposed to be fluid. What do I think? First thing comes in, because when you come into like leadership or situation, you're not going to go, let me see what's going to happen. No, you're going to respond. So that's why you respond naturally. And if it's not how you like your leadership style, what kind of training, what kind of improvement? And this is what organizations are going to do when you look at the organizational behavior. When they're looking at, hey, we got this kind of a behavior and we want our managers or leader to have this behavior. What kind of processes, what kind of training, what could we do to change the behavior or modify the behavior? Remember, as a leader, I'm not to fire. That's my last thing, to fire and punish it. My first thing is basically to motivate you to change your behavior. Once your behavior is changed, don't be upset with that individual. Let it go. I mean, I keep an eye on them, but don't hold any grudges. Move along. You've done your job. Their behavior, now they're a functional individual working within your team. Okay, so you have this. The first one will be on your leadership style. The other two referring to two basic, organic or mechanistic. If you're working someplace, what kind of structure are you? If I'm working in a hospital, if I'm in the ER, I have to have more of a mechanistic. Like it or not, autocratic. You're not going to tell anyone, well, let's talk about it. But other parts of the hospital, I could be more organic, more fluid, more receptive to the individuals. Okay, what's your preferred structure work? Does your leadership style work for this structure? If you're a mechanistic or organic and you come across to be very autocratic, It doesn't work in here. It doesn't work. And maybe that's why your leadership style is that because of the organization. You see how the two connect. I'm trying to get you to understand from a behavior, from an organization, I have to understand what parts of the organization structures creates my behavior and what behavior I have depending on the structure and my training and my feedback and my team. It is more complex than you think. Remember, you're only taking one class here. The more classes you take, the more you're going to do, the more it starts going to click it. So right now, you're just learning. You're getting a baseline understanding about all these different things. And that's where you're at. And then you're going to go for your bachelor. And then your bachelor is going to come again. You may have me or some other instructor. And again, they're going to push you at another level. Then you're going to go for your master's. And again, same thing. Now you're going to see at a higher level. And because now you understand all this, you're learning. Now I understand all this. Remember, as a manager and a leader, all these things happen to me at the same time. I just know all this. In class, I have to break it down in little segments so you understand. Just like math, I can't jump into finite math or algebra or geometry or trigonometry until you understand the basic. How do you add? Then you have to understand when I put in parentheses, what happens in parentheses? Which one goes first? Do I do the parentheses and then divide? Calculator does a lot of that for you. But this is the whole thing, so you're learning. Remember, this is the learning. I don't want you to walk away here. Most of you are going to get your B's and your A's and your C's, and some of you your D's and your F's. I don't care. I mean, that's the way. I mean, I do care, but I can't force you. I understand. I can give you and make everything to you, but how much input you put in, this is what you're going to get. A lot of you aren't doing too much on the forms. Some of you have seen that at the end, people are not doing a little form because they realize their grades are down. When you look at 30% of your grades is on the form, and you don't want to do any form, you're not going to get an A. You're not an A person. A person does the forms, does everything else. It's on time. He has time management. She has time management. That's how I grade you in the business. This is a business class. I want you to come up with the same kind of skill sets that you would have in business. Okay, so I'm off my soapbox on that. What type of structure, and that's it. So basically, that's what you have. You have, this week's. You have the connect. You have no quizzes. I was going to talk. Now, here's what I want to talk real quickly. Next week is going to be week 7. Now, week 7, I'm going to do a little bit different. You only have one connect or one chapter. I think it's chapter 16, last chapter. I'm not going to do too many of the form. Maybe a little minor form. But what I'm trying to do next week is your papers are going to be due not this week, this week 7, by Friday is your paper. So the beginning of form, I want you to start looking at your feasibility paper, start writing on this. Some individual says, I can't remember my topic. Look in there. There's a way you could go in there and somebody in a form, I know somebody brought it in before, click on your grade in a form for that week that you presented it, and then you'll be able to at least read them. And there's somebody else, I forgot who stated it. Please restate it in a form how you could open up past form. I mean, come on, you came up with the topic. You know what I mean? So you should be able to look at it. And a lot of people talked about the topic. So next week, not this week, week 7, I'm going to have the forum open just for communication. You're going to come up and you're going to ask people to help you with the topics. I'll help you with a little bit thing. What do I need? And it's going to be a real easy 25 points. I won't be so strict on that because I want you to start focusing on your paper that's coming up. You've got the one connect. So next week is going to be, try to work around your schedule so you could at least do your homework and do your research paper. You'll finish your research paper by Friday midnight. Maybe Saturday. I'll see how I feel. We'll see how the forum goes for week 7. All right. But then after the papers are due, I do the grading and everything else. And then the following week, I think on a Tuesday or something, you can do your final exam. And so you'll be ready. And the final exam is not going to be a Connect final exam. It's going to be the quizzes we did a couple of weeks back. And it's going to be 100 questions. Multiple choice, you're going to be scrambled. So if you're sitting next to your neighbor or somebody else, say, hey, we'll do this test together. You're coming out of a test bank, and the test bank, I got several test banks, and questions will come up quickly, and you'll have more than enough time. You'll have the same amount of time on this online class as you would if you'll be taking this class in a face-to-face. I think it's 2.5 hours to get it for the final, and that's what I'll give you. It's a one-time deal. You'll only receive the score at the end. You won't receive which ones you got right or wrong. No different than if you would be in a face-to-face class, but you're almost done. So right now, most of you are your B. I got a lot of B's and A's. I got a couple of C's. I got a couple of D's, and I got a few F's. The F's you don't even hear about, but they're there. So, but they may pop up at the last minute. You get what you have, because remember, I will turn in the grade. You achieve what you did. I've made you do a lot of things in this class, different things, just like you would be working with me in the corporate world. I don't grade you for one aspect. I grade you for everything. So if you don't want to do the forums, or you want to be very lightly on the forums, I can't help you. That's a percentage of your grades, and some people are late on the connects, so points are taken off, or you don't do the connects. You get what you do. Note that, remember, organizations have to have policies, procedures. I got to be fair with the other students who come on time, do their work, and those are my A students. If I want you wanted the A just because you did well on the connect, or that let you do it 2 times, that does not an indicator that you know the information. The indicator is how you take that information within the forms and communicate with other people, and I'll find out how much you really know when you do on your research papers and you write the papers and you present that to me. So anyway, my name is Dr. George Mochocki. You already know who I am. Some of you, I may never see you, but if you see me in the hallway wandering around, say, hey, Dr. George, how you doing? My name is so-and-so, and I'm on your online class. I always like to meet you face to face. You see how I am? Down the road, I think the next version of Blackboard, I could do some YouTubes. I'll have students do YouTubes, in the 16 weeks, and it may be a little more easier. So this way, other students can see who's talking. It's kind of nice to, we hear the person through the written word, but it's kind of nice to see the face to face. So again, you're doing very well. You're almost done. You only got 2 more weeks. You're almost finished. In a couple of weeks, this will be over. You'll be able to enjoy the rest of your summer, and when you go on for the next class. And again, my name is Dr. George Mochocki. This is Management 280, week 6, organizational behavior, covering chapters 15, leadership, and chapter 14, leadership, and chapter 15, organizational design. And I'll see you in the forum very shortly. Pretty soon it'll be all over. Have a nice day. Bye.